Now, who can install the packages in a Linux operating system? The answer is the administrators. And in the case of Ubuntu, it would be called as sudoers. That is, they could run a command as an administrator or a super user. So su for super user and do to execute. So sudo command can be executed by those who are listed in the file called etc sudoers. Now, even to actually view the file etc sudoers, you must be listed in that particular file. So let us just check that out, and then we would go on to try how to install packages by actually running a demo. To install the software updates or new software into the system, you will need to be a super user or an administrator. The super user privileges are listed in a file called /etc/sudoers. Let us explore that using an example. Here I have a terminal in which I am logged in as a guest. So I check who I am. So I am logged in as a guest, and I can view the contents of the etc sudoers file only if I am actually present with those privileges in that particular file, and we can check whether we have those privileges or not. And when I run this, it would ask for the password, and let us say I make a mistake in giving the password. So there is a usual error, that is for the password failure. But if you give it correctly, then it would go on to check whether the username is present in the sudoers list or not, and if the privileges are not sufficient, then there will be a message that you cannot actually proceed further. And there is also a message that the incident will be reported. So what does it mean? It means that the administrator can find out that a regular user is trying to gain super user privileges and has failed. On a server that belongs to someone else, this could be a problem, but if it is on your own machine, there is nothing to worry. Let us check how does one find out whether such a failure has happened. So I will now come out of this particular terminal, and I am now in the terminal where I am logged in as gfunny, which is the regular user for this machine and also present in the sudoers list, and I can verify that now I am logged into this terminal as gfunny, which will be the first user for this particular machine and therefore also present in the sudoers list. So let me just check that out by looking at the file contents of the sudoers, and it is asking me for the password, so I give that properly, and then if I am having that privilege, then it would be showing the contents of the sudoers file, which is available in front of you now. And this file shows that apart from the root user and myself, there is also one more user who has the super user privileges. Every other user will be denied permission to install software on this particular machine. Now, what did we mean when we said that the super user can find out a failed attempt to have the super user privileges by any other user? So that would be available in a log file, and we know that most of the logs are kept in /var/log, and auth.log is the file where these events are reported. So we could look at the last 100 lines of this particular file, and again this auth log is also only for super users, so we go ahead and use the super user privileges for that, and we now see that in the output there is a entry here saying that there is a authentication failure for the guest user, and the message is saying that user is not in the sudoers list. And later on I was successful in becoming a super user from the regular account. So you could also see that here, okay, where it opens the super user permissions for a particular user, UID 0. So here you can see that the successful usage of super user privileges by the user gfunny is documented. So the logbook also tells you who managed to gain the administrative privileges and who did not, and so one should look at these logs time to time. So when you are installing a package, the system knows from which website these packages have to be downloaded for installation. So where is this information stored? So it is stored in a folder called /etc/apt. So we will go there and explore that folder shortly. And there are two files that we have to look up. The one is a folder called sources.list and another is a directory called sources.list.d, in which there are different entries which come because you have added those sources for the Debian packages as a part of a third party software, for example Google Chrome or Microsoft Teams or Zoom, etc. So let us go to that folder /etc/apt, and you can see from here there are these files, and sources.list is the file that we wanted to look at. So cat sources.list, and you can see here that most of these lines are actually comments because they start with a hash, but the ones which do not have a comment character are the ones which are active. And you can see that here the Debian packages are being fetched from a website called in.archive.ubuntu.com. The in is for India, so you would have this particular entry made during the installation of the Ubuntu operating system, and it would be different for different countries, so that Ubuntu would have a mirror that is closest to your country to fetch the packages. And here in this particular string there is also the name of the version that you are going to use, and also certain other fields that would tell you which type of packages are being held by that particular repository. And there are multiple repositories, so you would have the main packages that are there in one repository, and there is another repository in which updates are being kept, and then sometimes there are also repositories for source codes. So you could see here that there is a repository for the source code, which is at this moment blocked out because it's starting with a hash character, which means it has been commented out. So this file is what contains the information about which location the Debian packages are being fetched for installation on the system when you run commands to either install or update or upgrade the packages on your operating system. Now what about the folder sources.list.d? So sources.list.d, if you go to that folder, then you can see that there are certain other entries. So we would go and look at what is in the Google Chrome, and you see that there is a repository that has been added which is coming from the Google website. So dl.google.com is a website from which the Debian package meant for the Google Chrome application are being fetched. So the advantage of this is that whenever Google upgrades the version of the Google Chrome, then the package management system would automatically know the upgrade is available and would fetch the latest version and install it on your operating system when you do the upgrade of the packages. So that also means that you don't have to worry when is the next version available. It would be pushed to you through the package management system as part of the apt update command that you would run to fetch the updates of all the packages that are installed on your operating system from the repositories that are configured in these files like source.list or Google Chrome.list, etc. Now let us see what do we mean by fetching the updates. So this is a command that you have to run as a super user. So sudo apt get update. What does it do when you run this command is that it would actually contact the package management system. Apt get would contact the repositories for any updates that are available for any of the packages, and then fetches those updates and keeps them in the cache. And then when you want to upgrade the packages, these updates are then applied depending upon which packages are actually installed on your system. So when you run sudo within a few minutes of authenticating, then it would not ask for a password, but if quite some time has been elapsed, then it would ask for the password again. As you can see that the updates are being fetched from various repositories, and depending upon the network speed or the network connectivity, it could take some time, and usually you would wait for it to finish and return control back to you on the prompt. So once you are done, it would also tell you how much data has been fetched and at what speed, etc. And now the control is back to the prompt. So what you could do now is to apply all the upgrades that are available for the packages that have been installed till now. So let us do that. It's a good habit to do that every now and then. So what I would do is that I will actually do it every day. So I try to keep the operating system up to date with respect to all the versions that are given by the Ubuntu, so that if there are any security upgrades, then they will be available immediately. So every now and then it's a good idea to run this command sudo apt-get upgrade. So first you run update to get the updates and upgrade to upgrade the packages. So when you run this command, it would actually list how many updates are going to be affected and how much of data is going to be downloaded. So you could actually see that right now the update is going to fetch 272 megabytes of data. So sometimes if you are traveling and you do not have a very good network connectivity, you may want to wait before doing the upgrade. So keep an eye on this particular data, and then if it is okay to download that much of data, then you can go ahead and accept. So the capital Y is for the accept, which is default. So you can go ahead and just press enter to accept fetching all the updates. And depending upon the amount of data, the fetching of updates would take some time. So wait patiently and let all the updates be done so that your operating system is up to date. Every now and then you would also have the firmware upgrades from the Linux, which are very critical to ensure that the hardware compatibility. When it says processing triggers, it means that the downloading and installing is complete and it is just finishing up certain actions that are required upon installation of those particular upgrades. So the control is back to the command prompt, which means that the upgrades are done. So you could actually now check whether there are any further updates and upgrades. So you could run the commands once more. Usually if there are no more updates pending, then it would just be done quite quickly. Now it's also telling you to do some more action, that is to auto remove, which means that there are some packages that came as a requirement for some other packages and they are now no longer required because newer versions of those have been already installed. So you can actually save some space by removing those packages, and you are not telling which package to be removed. So you are leaving it to the package management system, which is a good idea. And it is saving me 494 megabytes of data on my disk because I am removing the unnecessary packages which are of an older version. So the control is back to the command prompt. So the auto remove command has been completed. Now you can actually look at the other operations also. So to remove a package and to add a package, and we would identify the fortunes package as one which we could play with because it is an optional utility which we can remove as our as per our wish. So I am now trying to remove a package and it is asking me to confirm. So we do that and it goes on to remove that particular package. And once it removes the package, I should not have access to the command fortune. So let me remove the package called fortune mode, which contains the fortune cookies that are being displayed on the screen when I run the command fortune. So I accept it. And now I would try to run the command fortune and it says there is no such command, which means that the utility has been removed from the system. Now I want to bring it back. All that I have to do is to install that package. So I would do that right away. and there are no additional packages required, and therefore there is no confirmation being asked, and the utility has been installed. And you could see that if I run the command, then it works, and there is some fortune cookie that is being displayed on the screen. So you could also do the reinstallation. So you could also say apt-get reinstall package. So it would go ahead and then refresh the version, and sometimes we do it when there is any problem with some of the utilities. By mistake we removed some configuration file of a particular package, and we want to just fetch the package once more, and we could also do that using the apt-get command. So here are the utilities that we have tried till now. apt-get update to synchronize the package overview files between the system and the repository, and then to upgrade all the installed packages to their latest versions, taking into account the conflicts, etc. apt-get upgrade will do the job. And then you can install a package by simply typing apt-get install package name, and then if you want to reinstall it, you could also do that by using the command reinstall package. And all these commands will require sudo as a prefix, because these operations will modify the operating system, and therefore they are allowed only for the super users or administrators. So sudo permission is required for you to run these commands. Now we have also done one more action, namely to remove packages that were automatically installed to satisfy a dependency and not needed now because the packages have been upgraded beyond those versions. So you could save some disk space by removing those files, and apt-get auto remove would do that for you. Now you could also do one more action to clean up the disk by running the command apt-get clean. Normally we don't do that because to revert back a particular version, it may be okay to keep the retrieved package files. Sometimes you want to remove the package files and the configuration files, as well as the original Debian package file to install that package from your system, because you are running short of the storage of the hard disk, and you could do that by using the purge command. We normally don't do that because we would like to save bandwidth by keeping the package files in the system so that we could install them readily when we need. Now let us explore the DPKG package management system, which is at a lower level, allows for installation of a package directly when you download a deb file from the internet. It's not recommended unless you know what you're doing. Now there's a directory that you would like to explore to see some information about the packages, so we would go there and have a look. So varlib dpkg is a folder where text information is available about various packages that are there on your system. So let us go there and explore what is out there. So we are here in varlib dpkg, and you see that there are some files. So let us first look at the arch file. So it tells what are the architectures for which the packages have been installed on this system. So you could see that though my computer is a 64-bit machine, I also have some 32-bit executables installed. This is for some library files that may be required for compatibility reasons. And then there is a large file, 181 kilobytes, which is called the available. So we would look at that by the less command, and you can see that it actually has a list of the packages along with its full information one after other. And this is one place from where when you ask for information about a package, it will be taken out and shown to you on the screen. You also have a file called status, which tells you whether a particular package has been installed or not. Obviously this file will be much larger than available because the number of packages that you have installed will always be much less than what are possible from the Ubuntu repository. So let us look at the status file, and you will see that whether it is installed or not. So you could see the status here, it tells you whether it has been installed or not. And there is also a directory called info, and there you have got a set of files for each of the packages that are installed, and it would actually have also some information about the MD5 sum and such signatures that you may want to verify. So let us explore files for a particular package. Let us say a wget. So ls wget star, and you could see that there are 3 files. So ls minus l wget. So you can then see what are those pieces of information that we have. So more wget.conf files, and it will show you that there's one configuration file that comes along with the wget, which would be etc wget-rc. And then wget.list will tell you information of what are all the files that would get copied onto the system when you install this package called wget. And wget.md5 sums will actually show you what are all the md5 sums of that of the files that have been installed on your system, and you could actually now confirm whether some of them have been tampered by the system because of unauthorized access to your system. And let us do that now. So user bin wget has a particular md5 sum, so we would write md5 sum user bin wget, and you see that it matches with what is there here. And this is something that we could actually do to ensure that no executable or library in the system has been tampered compared to file originally sent by the Ubuntu as a vendor of that particular software package. So here are some utilities that we could try by using the dpkg command, where we could list all the packages which match a particular pattern, because we are looking for name of the package. We do not know the name exactly, so we start with few characters and look for the names. Also, we can see what are the files that came with a particular package, or we can also see the status of a particular package, and we could also search for a particular package from where a file has been installed. So you know the name of the file, but you don't know the name of the package from where it came. So you could also look up that by using the -S option of the dpkg command. So let us look at these using a demo. So dpkg with the option -L, let us say, and nmap as a keyword, would actually see that there are no packages that have been installed with that particular command. So that means that I have not installed that particular package yet. So I will go ahead and install it. Now that it is installed, I would go ahead and run it again, and now you see that there is some information that comes up which tells that this particular package has been installed, and it has some information about the architecture and the description, etc. Okay, the version, the name, and the revision, etc. Also, all this information are available from the dpkg command with the -L option. Now, what are all the various files that are provided by this? You can actually check. So you see that the nmap, when you install this package, these are all the various files that are being added to the system. So you could see that user bin nmap is actually coming from this package, but also nping, for example, or the man file coming from the nmap also is here, for example. Okay, so when you install a package, the man page is coming in, and also certain other utilities bundled along with that particular main executable. And you would also see that the man page is coming with the multiple languages also. Now you can actually find out the status of a particular package by typing the -S option. So it now says that yes, it is installed, and what is the priority, and etc. So this is the same output which comes from apt-cache show command, and it is actually asking it via the dpkg command on the backend. And it also gives you a very detailed information about that particular utility. And if you have asked that about any other package, you will also know whether it has been installed or not. Now let us say there is a particular executable which you want to know which package has led to that particular executable being made available. And so you could search for that by the command with a -S option. And let us say the executable I want to look up is user bin Perl. So it says that the Perl base is the name of the package from where this particular executable has come. So which means that I could now go and look at some more information about that particular package name, because the package name is available. So dpkg minus small s to show about the package, and then here you see that information is available. It's an essential package, comes under the section called Perl, and you would see information about that particular package. That is a scripting language used in many system scripts and utilities. So you should not remove this particular executable or the package, and you would also see that it is maintained by the Ubuntu developers directly. So now you can see that we have learnt about how to install packages, how to upgrade them, how to remove the packages, and how to fetch updates about the packages, and do an en masse updation of the packages on the system, etc. using two major systems, apt as well as dpkg. Now we may want to search for all the packages under a particular section or package section, and that for that we would actually look up a very low level command, and I will show that using a demo. So let us look at the manual page for dpkg query. So this is a low level tool which we don't normally use, but it is basically to query the dpkg database about all the packages, and here is something that we would like to learn. Minus w, okay, minus w is to show the list of packages, and let us also see one more option that we will be finding of use, minus f, that is a format in which we want the information to be shown. And what are the kind of formats that are possible? You will also look at the fields which has, for example, the section. So section is one of the fields that we could use, and some more fields are like, for example, the name of the package, okay, binary colon package. So by combining these pieces of information, we can actually ask the system to list the packages as well as their sections in a particular format by directly posing that query. So let us do that here. Minus f is giving the format, and the format I would give as follows. So I would like the section name to be there, and then I would also like the field which is basically the binary colon package to be there, and after that I would like a enter symbol to go to the next line, and if I run that now, I would actually see a list of all the sections, and within each section what are the binary packages that are installed in my system. So you can see that the list is quite long. Okay. Now whenever the list is quite long, you know what to do. So you can pipe it to less, and then you can go through them one by one. So the first field is the name of the section under which that particular package has been categorized by Ubuntu, and the next item is the name of the package that has come under that particular section into the system upon installation. Now what we do is that we would like to go through section by section. So for that we need to sort. So let us sort it, and after that go by page by page. Okay, so what are we doing here? So we are running a query to list all the packages with a particular format, namely the section has to be given, after that the name of the package has to be given, and after that a new line. Okay, and this listing has to be sorted, and then it has to be displayed page by page. So you can see how we are actually using the terminal environment to look at the list of packages under the sections as done by the Ubuntu operating system, and we are looking at it page by page. So you can see that under the admin section, these are the various utilities that have been installed, and then under the developer section, these are the utilities. And you can see that there's a bunch of editors that have been installed. So the LibreOffice tools are all coming under the editors category, and there are a whole bunch of fonts that have been installed, and there's a Java utilities that have been installed on my machine, and you could also see that a lot of library files that have come into the system because they come along with the utilities that we installed. Okay, so now you see that there are also some shells that have come up. So you can see that apart from the bash shell, we also have other shells like CSH dash and KSH also have been installed. So now you can see that you are looking at the utility names under the category, so you want to learn more shells, then you can see how many shells have been installed and then go on to explore them separately. That is how you can actually explore tools that you have not been looking for consciously, but now that they are available for you under each category, then you can go through them to be thorough about all the utilities that come under a particular category. Now we would like to also look at only those sections which let us say come under a particular category. So let us say shells. So the way to do that is to filter the output. And for filtering the output, there is a command called grep, which we will be learning shortly. But for now, I would just illustrate how nice it is actually giving you the output as. Now you can see that we have filtered the output to only choose to display those lines which contain the word shells, and you could see that the list of utilities that come under the category called shells are displayed. So you can see that this grep command is quite powerful in filtering the output that is coming in through the pipe, and we will learn more about that shortly. So here is what we have done using the dpkg minus small l for looking up a pattern by which the packages are going to be looked up. And then minus capital L to list the files that came when you install that package, minus small s to look at the status of that particular package, and minus capital S to look at which package has brought that particular file that you are looking for. Now if you have downloaded a deb file, you could also install it using the minus I option directly, but this is not a good idea because it may have some dependencies which you will have to bother about yourselves. By default, use package management system pointing to a reliable repository such as the Ubuntu itself or a reputed company, say Google, but do not download deb files from the internet from unknown sources and install them on your system, because in the worst case it could actually damage the operating system, and sometimes it may also not just work because there are dependencies which may have conflicts with existing libraries and utilities on your system. So always leave these decisions to the package management system so that the process of installation upgradation will happen smoothly. And it's not a good idea to remove a package using this command, because you may be removing a package that is required by many other packages, and therefore removing packages should be also done using a package management system like, for example, apt or Synaptic or Aptitude. With that, we come to the end of the session on software management. Please do read the documentation for the package management that is relevant for your operating system, say apt or dpkg for Ubuntu, or maybe RPM or DNF for Red Hat Linux or OpenSUSE Linux, etc., and make yourself comfortable with various options so that you are on top of the software management of your computer. One of the important things about the stability of Linux operating system is that almost everything that you would like is available from the original maintainer of that particular flavor of Linux operating system, and in many ways when you install a package, the checks are done to ensure the compatibility with existing libraries, and therefore the operating system is generally stable if you follow the standard practices for installation or upgradation of software packages. So enjoy expanding your operating system to have all the tools that you would ever want to have on your system to learn various tools that are required for your work without having to worry about the compatibility issues. In situations when the compatibility issues cannot be resolved, there are also alternative methods available on a Linux operating system, such as through the Snap or Docker, and you could explore them as alternatives whenever you are unable to install a particular version of a package. But usually that problem doesn't arise as long as you are using a stable software management system such as apt.